All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master. Today we're talking about going undercover in shop management groups. The reason I'm making this video is to hopefully shed a new light on shop owners and how they operate and how they treat people. You know, this is just going to be some of the stuff I've seen in some of these management groups. So if you play video games, you know what a Smurf account is. If you're on Facebook and you have friends that have several accounts because they get 30-day bans all the time because of what they share, you kind of know what I'm doing. Now, there's going to be no screenshots nor group names because I don't want them to find my accounts so I can continue snooping. And I think I've done a pretty good job of covering my bases. So, well, admins have good luck finding me. Now, this is all going to be independent shops, not dealer groups. Dealer groups are a little more difficult to get into. Let me just put it that way. It's really going to help us look at the psychology of, well, shop owners in a environment that is free from, well, the technician perspective. This is only going to be shop owners in this discussion. There are not going to be any technicians to, well, muddy the waters. I hope nobody takes this seriously. Not a rant. It's just pointing a bunch of stuff out that I've seen over and over and over again. I have been doing this for a while. So again, good luck, admins. First off, some generalities. Egos in these groups are, well, massive egos. People say I have a massive ego. Nothing compared. So first off, they love their buzzwords and, well, abbreviations. KPI, ARO, yeah. But they love buzzwords. They all want to seem smarter than they, well, really are. And, that's human nature, but it's kind of interesting to watch what they say. As another aside, I think they all watch the same video on how billionaires start their day, spend their day, because they all talk about doing the almost exact same thing, yada, 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 with variations. But all right, so one of the overriding themes is about their plans to make, well, more and more money. Higher margins, how they can push their technicians to do even more work. Sometimes it's about expansion, but a lot of times it's about shoving more work down everybody's throats, whether it's, getting the service writers to increase their margins even more, whether it's how to get the technicians to turn out more and more and more work. It's always them trying to, well, maximize every penny of profit. How can they cut costs? How can they cut, this out of the budget? How can they cut that out of the budget? It's always everything they can think of to make more money, and it usually results in, things that other people have to deal with. Simple example is uniforms. Big talking point is buy your own uniforms and make the guys clean their own stuff. Huge cost savings. You don't have to pay the Cintas guy no more. And that, what does it do? Yeah, you have a small initial investment, and then you've got guys that are going home, destroying their home washing machines, or maybe you put one in the shop if you have room. But that's some of the stuff they talk about. One of the themes was hourly pay, and how many of those shops are paying hourly, which I'm sure a lot of my audience will be praising. I think there's reasons behind that push towards that pay system, and it's not the technician's best interest. It's in making more money for them. But I never actually saw that said in a group, so I can't say if that's really the reason behind hourly pay. But there was a big push on how to get hourly technicians to produce more without paying them more. Just saying. So one of the big pushes to hourly is, the argument of quality, quantity over quality. And in the next post, they're talking about quality control issues with their hourly techs. Many discussions about how to deal with technicians with quality control issues, et cetera, punishments, et cetera. But I digress. Now, there's also a lot of, lack of respect for what technicians do. Statements like most of them couldn't fix a sandwich, and why do we have to pay them so much? getting back to the complaints of, technician broke XYZ. And in the next statement, they've got, I've got this huge backload of cars that need to be fixed. And because of this, we're behind. And yeah. I mean, can you not figure out that even if your hourly technician is doing his best, putting a huge workload on them is going to cause breakage and problems, quality control issues? But, the overriding fact is they are wanting to push as many cars through the shop as they possibly can, but expect quality to remain the same. And it just can't. It can't. The more pressure you put on a technician, whether they're hourly or flat rate or commission or whatever, is, mistakes are going to happen the faster people go. The more pressure you put on them, in the case of a flat rate technician, the more pressure he puts on himself or herself to produce more might cause more problems. It's a fact of life. That's how that works. It's nothing new. It's not a new concept. But for many of these shop owners, they can't see the concept. They can't see if they've got a 10-car backload for that technician and he's rushing trying to get to the next car, there might be mistakes. Let's go on a little side journey. Shop management groups. Encouraged like crazy. Some of these groups are like cults. Literally, there's shop management, suggestion in a group, and they're like, oh, you need to go with mine. You need to go with mine. It's literally cult-like. But that's what these shop management groups do. They go in and look at the financial problems of a shop, not the other problems of a shop, just the financial end of it. And because they have a third-party perspective, can see the problems inside a shop. But almost never do they ever worry about the shop part of it other than more. It literally comes down to, we need more. Let's talk about not wanting feedback from techs. They don't want feedback. They don't want to do exit interviews. They don't want to find out why a technician is quitting. They don't. Exit interviews are almost never heard of. And it's something that happens in almost every other industry. Toxic employees. The number one response is fire them. Don't find out what's going on with them, fire them. And every time morale improves. Well, of course you did. Of course morale improved, because guess what? Everyone in your shop is now afraid of getting fired. That's how that works. So of course everybody's going, oh yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great. Everything's wonderful. Don't fire me. Please don't fire me. It's hilarious. It is a hilarious lack of understanding management. It literally is, oh, you don't like what's going on? I'll fire you too. Now, this is just a final little note. Opinions vary wildly depending on what group they're in. When they're in a group that has technicians in the group, opinions will change dramatically. Just something I noticed, based on seeing the same names in different groups. There are some people that are very, 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 very two-faced. Let me tell you. My hope for this video is that people will actually look at themselves in the mirror. That they'll look at themselves and realize that pushing for more production, but understand that quality is going to fall based on you doing what you're doing. And your hubris of thinking that quality can stay at such a high level when you're pushing as much through the shop as humanly possible to make yourself another, buy yourself, so the shop owner can buy himself another house, another boat, another car. We can all hope that 2024 will be the end of the ESO, the evil shop owner. Doubt it, but I'll do what I can to try to point out some of the stuff that, they do that adds the E to their job title. So as always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.